The Rivonia trial. Defiance, bold, and truth to power. History sometimes condenses the struggle of a nation into a single room. A courtroom where the future is debated not only in legal arguments, but in the unflinching resolve of those who stand accused. The Rivonia trial, held between 1963 and 1964 in apartheid South Africa, was one such crucible. It was a moment when the apartheid state attempted to silence resistance by prosecuting leaders of the African National Congress, ANC, including Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Govan Mbeki, Ahmed Kathrada, Raymond Malaba, Dennis Goldberg, Elias Motsoaledi, and Andrew Mlangeni. Instead, it became one of the most powerful testimonies of moral defiance the world has ever witnessed. The story begins at Liliesleaf Farm in Rivonia, a quiet suburb of Johannesburg that served as a covert headquarters for anti-apartheid activists. It was here that leaders of Umkhonto we Sizwe, MK, the armed wing of the ANC, met to plan acts of sabotage against government infrastructure. Their goal was not wanton destruction, but a strategic, calculated form of resistance aimed at halting the advance of oppression without taking human lives. For them, sabotage was a last resort after every avenue for peaceful protest had been systematically closed. In July 1963, police raided the farmhouse, arresting several leaders and capturing documents that would form the backbone of the state's case. Mandela, already imprisoned for earlier charges, was later added to the indictment. The apartheid government believed it finally had in its hands the evidence to crush the liberation movement. Instead, the Rivonia trial became a global stage upon which the brutality of apartheid and the humanity of its opponents was laid bare. The prosecution charged the accused with sabotage, recruiting for guerrilla warfare, and conspiring to overthrow the state, crimes that carried the possibility of the death penalty. Yet, in the face of overwhelming evidence and immense personal danger, the defendants did not cower. Their legal strategy, shaped by lawyers like Bram Fisher and Joel Joffe, was not merely to avoid conviction, but to expose the injustices that had brought them to that courtroom. It was during this trial that Mandela delivered his now legendary 3-hour speech from the dock, a combination of personal testimony, political indictment, and moral manifesto. Calm, resolute, and unbowed, he explained the necessity of the struggle with clarity and conviction. He described how decades of apartheid laws had crushed peaceful protest and forced freedom fighters into clandestine resistance. He acknowledged the planning of sabotage, not with remorse but with the sober acknowledgement of a man who had been driven to the only route left available to him. His speech culminated in a sentence that reverberated around the world. "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve, but if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die."